Ooh, you miss me? I know. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Aprilyon. Thank you for stopping by. If this is your first time meeting this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell icon. When I release a video, you'll be the first to get notified. So in this video, we're going to be making a jumpsuit that has a band at the waist. If this is what you're interested in watching, then go ahead and watch this video to the end. Make sure you share it with your sewing friends, and also make sure you like and comment on this video. So let's get right straight into this video. I've gone ahead to start marking my trouser. This is my starting line, so I'll go ahead and mark the hip line. I measured 8 inches for the hip, but I just saw that the lady is very tall, so I later went on to mark 10 inches for the hip line because it's going to be a jumpsuit. Okay, so if you're marking a normal trouser, you can do 8 inches, but I did 10 inches and I then marked it across the line. So once I was done with that, I went ahead to also measure the crotch for this trouser, which is 2 inches below the hip line. So we have like 13 inches. So I went ahead to mark it at that point, and then I drew a straight line across that point. Okay, so I'm marking the length of this jumpsuit. My camera is not able to capture that. Okay, so I minus the half length from the full length, and then I marked it at that point. Okay, and I drew a straight line. So going off, I went ahead to divide my hip measurement by 4, and then I marked it at that point. I also marked the hip measurement at the waistline and also at the crotch line, and then I drew a straight line at that point connecting it. So once I was done, I went ahead to mark the crotch extension, which is 2.5 inches. Okay, so once I did that, I then make a slight curve from my crotch extension to my hip line. Okay, you can use your curve set if you have that. So I divided my waistline by 4, and starting from the crotch line that I marked the waistline at that point. Okay, so this jumpsuit is going to be having a pleat at the front, so I added 4 inches to my normal waist, and then I divided it by 4. Okay, so this is to accommodate the pleat that is going to be at the front, and then I also went ahead to connect it to my hip line, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut the front pattern of the trouser of this jumpsuit. Okay, so I'm going ahead to cut the back pattern now for this trouser. I left this a space of 2.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to be marking 2.5 inches. I'm extending. This is for the back butt where it's going to sit, so that the butt is going to sit properly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and then mark 1 inch at the side of the trouser. Okay, and I'm going to use my ruler to connect it down to the length of this trouser. I'm going to go ahead and take out 1 inch from the crotch line. Okay, I'm also going to go ahead and then extend my back crotch line by 2.5 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and mark that 2.5 inches downward. This is going to be a very big palazzo pants for the jumpsuits. Okay, so once I'm done, I'm going to also go in by 1 inch at the crotch for the back. I'm going to take that part and take 1 inch out, and then I'm going to rule a straight line for the back pattern. I'm going to go ahead now and then mark. I'm also going to extend the hip line to the back. Okay, so I'm then going to go ahead and connect the crotch line for the back pattern. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and also make a curve for my crotch, the back crotch. Okay, I'm going to take the 1 inch I took out from the back. I'm going to mark it down 7 inches for my zipper allowance. Okay, once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut my back pattern. I'll go ahead and mark my upper body. This is the front. I've gone ahead to rule a straight line for the shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and mark my bust point. I'm going to go ahead and mark my half length also. Okay, so just go ahead and use your measurements. Meanwhile, I'm going to be taking out 1.5 inches for the band, okay, from my half length. So I've gone ahead to rule a straight line across my bust point and my half length. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and divide my shoulder by 2, and I'm going to go ahead and mark it at that point. I'm going to mark my 1-inch slope for the shoulder and then a 4 inches for my neck width. I'm also going to go ahead and also mark my armhole depth, which is 9 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and then mark the shoulder measurement which I had just to get a straight line. I'm going to connect the lines to the slope I have, and I'll divide my bust measurement by 4 and I'll mark it. I'm going to also go ahead and add 2 inches for my sewing allowance. I'll mark my round waist measurement divided by 4. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark 2 inches for the sewing allowance. I'll go ahead and connect it and then also connect my armhole curve. I'm going to divide my armhole length divided by 2. I'll come in by ½ inch and then make my front slope that way. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and mark my neck depth, which is 8.5 inches. I'm going to be making a V neckline for this jumpsuit, so I'm going to connect it to my shoulder. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and then cut the front pattern. I'm going to go ahead and cut the back pattern. So I place the front pattern we just cut out on the fabric, and then I'm going to go ahead and keep allowance for my zipper. I'm also going to go ahead and use my front pattern to mark my zipper, which is 1.5 inches. Okay, once I'm done doing I'll go ahead and take in ½ inch from the waistline of the back. So this is to make the back sit properly. Okay, and then I'm going to take 4.5 inches for my dart at the back. Once I'm done doing that, I'm also going to mark the front dart, which is 4.5 inches. Okay, and once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and cut my back pattern. I'm also going to mark ½ inch from the waist, and then I'm going to connect it to the dart and I'm going to cut it out. This is to prevent any bulging at the back. I'm now going to cut off my back pattern and also go ahead and mark the new zipper line. I'm going to go ahead and mark the neck depth for the back, which is 1.5, and I'm going to make a curve at that point and I'm going to cut it off. I'm also going to go ahead and cut my front neckline, and that will be it for the cutting. We'll go ahead and start sewing it. Ahead to cut the sleeve. Okay, so I've folded my fabric into 2. I'm going to be cutting the 2 sleeves on fold. I'm going to be marking the sleeve cap, which is 4 inches, and I'm going to mark a straight line. I'm also going to go ahead now and divide my armhole circumference by 2, and I'm going to mark it, add 1.5 inches as sewing allowance. Once I'm done, I'm going to make a curve at my sleeve cap there. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and also my round sleeve measurement, because this sleeve is going to be having elastic, okay, at the round sleeve. So I'm going to multiply my round sleeve by 2, and then I'm going to mark it. I'm going to go ahead and then cut my sleeve. Gone ahead to cut my facing for the front and back upper bodies. I'm also going to go ahead now and join the shoulder of the front to the back and using 1/2 inch. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and now sew the neckline. I'm going to put my facing right side to the main bodies. I'm going to go ahead and use my pin to hold the facing to the main bodies. I'm going to making sure that the shoulder seam aligns. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to then sew with 1/4 inch of the neckline, and then I'm going to go ahead and notch the neckline so that it can stay flat. I'm going to make sure I notch the V part very well so that it doesn't fold. Once I'm done notching it, I'm going to go ahead and top stitch and then iron it and bring it back. I'll go ahead and join the center crotch with 3/4 inch. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and also join the side pockets to it, and then I'll start making the pleat for the front. I'm going to be making 2 inches. Remember we left 4 inches, so I'm going to be making 2 inches pleats for the front of the 2 sides. I'm also going to be doing the same pleats on the back. Okay, so I'm going ahead to cut my band, which is 2.5 inches, and then the length, which is the waist length. I'm going ahead to attach my band. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and attach it with 1/2 inch to the waistline of the upper bodies. Once I'm done with that, I'm also going to go ahead now and then attach it to the lower part, which is the trouser part of this jumpsuit. Okay, and once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and then attach my sleeve to the upper bodies. I'm going to be making a pleat at the shoulder part, just like a gathers, and then I'm going to attach it with 1/2 inch. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and close up my jumpsuit with 1 inch from the sleeve. Remember, I added an elastic to this sleeve to give it that ruffle look that it's there. So once I'm done, I'm going to close the sides of my jumpsuit. I've taken my body measurement divided by 4, and then I'm going to mark it at that point, and then I'm going to go ahead and close it from the sleeve to the pocket. I've closed the pocket and then close the trouser part. Once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and attach my zipper to the jumpsuit, and that will be all for this jumpsuit. This is the final look of the jumpsuit. It's looking so good. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Go ahead and like and comment, and also tell me what you want me to the next tutorial you want me to sew. Okay, make sure you leave a comment on this, what you would like me to improve on if you be making this outfit for yourself. Okay, so towards the end of the video, you're going to be seeing the final look of this dress. It came out really lovely and my clients loved it. I'd also attached a belt to it. I didn't show it in the tutorial, but I made a belt to the jumpsuit and it came out very well. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.